Sheriff Todd Baxter, employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. District Attorney Sandra Doorley, employees of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. Supervising Judge Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. Paul C. Metzer, James Finley Jr., Penn Court. My name is Chris Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I have been an innocent man in jail 6 times at Monroe County Jail, Livingston County Jail. I live in Monroe County for 10 years. So what the fuck am I doing in Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, New York? Employees of the District Attorney's Office, Perry Duckles, Mark Monahan, Elizabeth Buckley, Michelle Crowley. Does it matter? Do you believe that's the lunatic fringe that I've been a citizen of Monroe County since 2012 for 12 years? And there I am languishing in Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, New York. The same jail Tops Buffalo mass murderer Peyton Gendron was in. This is because of Paul C. Metzler and your repulsive Jonestown at the District Attorney's Office. So the prosecutor sent me to Livingston County Jail before Paul C. Metzler, when he didn't utter one word in court. He's on a payroll for the District Attorney's Office, which I'm going to show up. I have at least 3 prosecutors. You freaks and sociopaths that exist in Hysteria. And who is it? District Attorney Sandra Doorley for 4 years has looked right at this document here and refused every time. I have to count the exact number. It's 500 or more times that I've written this. It could be more than 1,000. I have to check my records. So, on this Sunday, August 4th, and on August 4th, 2023, I told you to disclose the heads of our prosecutors. This is the Gmail I printed out here, August 4th, 2023. Comply with the attached freedom of information or documentation dated August 4th, 2023. Mailed an answer on prosecutor Sauce, the address in Park Avenue. Prosecutor Sauce before. Penn Court Judge John P. Lomenzo Jr., Penn Court Judge Paul C. Metzer, New York State Supreme Court Judge Alex Renzi. 1 year ago today, this has arrived at least 100 times in the District Attorney's Office. And if this corrupt, sick, adult freak, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, looked at it and refused, that's why she's a corrupt, sick, adult freak. You can't even stop her vehicle for Webster, New York Police. Do you have any thoughts on that at the District Attorney's Office? Because of course you did. You had to talk about it. This should have been resignations immediately from the District Attorney's Office. It's one thing for you just to read the story and know she didn't stop her vehicle. When you see her behavior, when she's flashing that badge and she's trying to intimidate the Webster, New York police officers, and she's using profanity, I don't have any problem with using profanity. But this is a district attorney who's in front of 2 police officers trying to do their jobs, and she's using profanity to intimidate them. So who is it? Freedom of Information Law is only 3 here, and this is August 4th. Who is it? Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester with John P. Lomenzo Jr. Penn Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? District Attorney Sandra Doorley. The freaking sociopath is still here. This is the payroll for the District Attorney's Office. You Nancy Gilligan at $118,000 can tell me. You Mark Monahan at $141 can tell me. You Matthew Schwartz at $135 can tell me. You Perry Duckles at $144 can tell me. Lisa Trulove at $107 can tell me. Roderick Catalano at $135 can tell me. And most especially, Director of the Local Courts Elizabeth Buckley at $131,000, paid just $1,000 less than Todd Baxter, can tell me. I contacted you in January with 1,000+ words. Elizabeth Buckley, nothing from her. There were disciplinary committees, Elizabeth Buckley, that I'm going to contact about you. I'm going to send them that documentation. And then what's your response? If, in fact, you're contacted by a disciplinary committee. You could just go to the administrative person at the district attorney's office and say, I got this email from this citizen. Disclose this information for him. Because it's information you have. And it's a prosecutor that's violated my civil and constitutional rights. So, who is it before John P. Lomenzo Jr.? Tell me who it is. This bald-headed widow, Paul C. Metzer, Regina Harper, the public defender's office, exact words about this boy in his 3-piece suit said the prosecutor's not backing down when he doesn't contact me from the district attorney's office and he exists in total ignorance. What's his name? Documentation of the case for Christopher Chichester with Paul C. Metzer with Penn Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? District Attorney Sandra. This boy in his 3-piece suit, if he's still at the district attorney's office, is writing on the payroll. What's his name? Freedom of Information Law. At 11:18 p.m. on Sunday night, August 4th. Documentation for the case for Christopher Chichester, Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. What's the name of the prosecutor? District Attorney Sandra. freaking sociopath to force me into Alex Renzi because of 73312 perjurer Michael Houlihan at the Mountain County Sheriff's Office right here. Who is it? Why am I appearing before Alex Renzi? Why is the supervising judge over at the Hackocracy at United Exchange? Who made that decision to force me in front of him? It's the prosecutor signed to it. You know why I have to appear in front of Alex Renzi? $73,000 Michael Houlihan, $85,000 Don Benedetto. That's where I used to live in Penfield, hidden in the bushes on my neighbor's property, who was 80 years old and lives with a dog alone. I did not tell her at first that Benedetto and Houlihan were on a private property. Employees of the district attorney's office who all have a JD, who are all law school graduates, Perry Duckles, Mark Monahan, Elizabeth Buckley, Michelle Crowley. Can the police in the state of New York walk onto private property and hide? Can the police in the state of New York walk onto any private property anywhere? Can the police walk to Oak Hill Country Club and just set up right there? Because Oak Hill Country Club is private property. My elderly neighbor who lives alone with a dog is private property. Private property is the same everywhere. And if the cops can't go onto private property at Oak Hill Country Club, then they certainly can't go onto private property at a residence. So what are Houlihan and Benedetto doing? You Jonestown Kool-Aid drinking, bald-headed, skin-headed stooge and psychopath, Sheriff Todd Baxter, on private property. Can the cops lie in wait on private property? I'm not an attorney. I'll say it all the time when I'm on here on YouTube. And I could be wrong about the law. So what's the answer? Tell me what the answer is. So, you can walk through this parking lot, employees of the district attorney's office and sheriff's office without a warrant for your arrest. I've walked through this parking lot 4,000 times. And because of cop freak, $83,000 Shannon Meyer, the sheriff's office, a warrant for my arrest for walking through this parking lot. That's the lunatic French. A warrant for my arrest for walking through this parking lot. So, I come right out here and say nobody owns Atlanta, walk back on my rents. You think that's a crime? Employees of the district attorney's office? The desperation of this freak. Todd Baxter does not matter to him when his psychopath cops concoct crimes for innocent citizens. My 50th birthday, July 4, 2015, I have a speeding ticket in my place of employment in Albany, New York, dismissed in court. A speeding ticket in my place of employment in Washington, D.C., dismissed in court. I have always known what constitutes criminal behavior in a criminal act. That's why on my 50th birthday, July 4, 2015, I had never been arrested. After my 50th birthday, I've been in jail 6 times because you psychopaths and freaks and fanatics that are Andrew Reale, Shannon Meyer, Don Benedetto, Michael Houlihan, and Richard Seidman, who violently attacked me at the Penfield Public Library, are concocting crimes for me. These sheriff office employees are just like a barber who doesn't know how to cut hair. It's like if you sat down at the barber and the barber said, I don't know how to cut your hair. It's the same thing with the sheriff's office employees. All those names I mentioned, they cannot identify a criminal act. And Todd Baxter excuses these Jonestown Kool-Aid drinkers that cannot identify a criminal act because he uses the blue wall of silence to protect each one of them. So, who is it? Tell me who it is. As I'm wearing my $4 shirt from the Goodwill. All my clothes are gone because of Antonio Spano, my landlord. It takes a court order to lock the door. I wrote this criminal complaint on July 22nd of last year. He hasn't been arrested because Todd Baxter can't identify a criminal act. My ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley, who I've known for 30 years, took everything out of my register to a storage locker in Webster, New York. That takes a court order too. What do you not understand? You freaks and sociopaths and psychopaths at the sheriff's office and district attorney's office. So as far as the criminal complaints, including the perjurer Michael Houlihan, it's right here. Start 2023. Tax report criminal complaints with this language. Rich J. Seegan walked into the Public Library in New York, ran at Christopher Chichester, slammed his arm at the head of Chichester, causing him to fall backwards in his head and surrounding the top floor. Day Raj Layla Kumar shot 2030 from Penfield Road, Penfield, New York, falsely reported an incident of Christopher Chichester, falling 26 Sanders from drives, walked through parking lot next to his residence. Antonio Spano, Fairport, New York, locked the front and back doors of residence 26 Sanders from Drive in Penfield, New York, without a court order. Laura Riley, Webster, New York, transported the person who belongs to Christopher Chichester, 26 Sanders from Drive in Penfield, New York, to a storage locker in Webster, New York, without a court order. These are crimes. Each individual will not be arrested or prosecuted. There is a 1 day in jail served for these crimes that destroyed my life because you're incapable of identifying a crime and cut crimes for innocent citizens in human condition. 2 links here. Rejection 113, not 142 Perry Douglas, 112 Mark Monahan, unconstitutional, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Alex Renzi. I use the word unconstitutional because it'd be unconstitutional for any reasons. How am I in jail when I don't have a public defender? The first time I'm in jail before John P. Lomenzo Jr. for two little concoctions I'm not going to talk about right now, I walked over there to 1985 Bad Road. I stood in front of him. I do not have a public defender. And he just declared me guilty, and there I'm in Monroe County Jail. Is that constitutional or not? A prosecutor has never talked in court for me. Is it constitutional for me to be in jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? You employees at the district attorney's office, whose names I have mentioned, Perry Douglas, Mark Monahan, Elizabeth Buckman, Michelle Crowley, have a JD, and did you study at law school procedures for how citizens are remanded to a jail? What's the answer? Did your professors ever talk about the silence of a courtroom and a prosecutor, and yet a defendant is remanded to jail or not? Doesn't matter to you. You're freaks and sociopaths, just like this freaking sociopath right here. When I'm talking about private property, Michael Lang involved in the death of a human being where he had to be investigated by the state attorney general, and Todd Baxter doesn't take his weapon from him. Todd Baxter doesn't put him on restrictive duty, and the desperation of this freak cop here, Michael Poulan, is going to become a perjurer, and this is how, director of the grand jury, Michelle Crowley, and if you would have called me this panel of 18 to 24 idiots, I would have testified, and I would describe what I say right here in this criminal complaint for this perjurer, Michael Poulan, that Todd Baxter ignores because Todd Baxter loves it when his employees lie under oath. Text criminal complaint for perjury 73312 Michael Poulan, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. That's 73312 Michael C. Poulan, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Walked down the private property, goes for residence 26 Sanders Farm Drive, Pemberton, New York, Christopher Chichester. That Houlihan ran to Chichester to approximately 1 a.m. with $85,000 Don Benedetto, Sheriff's Office at Chichester, ran away from Houlihan and Benedetto, one of the identities. At Chichester, grabbed a hammer alongside the residence next to his bike to fix the bike's tire. That as Chichester placed his foot on the first of 3 steps of the back porch, Houlihan grabbed his arm. The hammer in Chichester's hand is forced upwards. Chichester ran across the back porch through a sliding glass door, and as Chichester never stopped running, it's possible to swing the hammer at 73312 Michael Houlihan. As Chichester never stopped running, it's impossible to swing the hammer at 73312 Michael Houlihan, director of the grand jury, Michelle Crowley, you corrupt freak. I'm your ham sandwich, Michelle Crowley. I will pursue your disbarment. It's going to be relentless what I'm going to do to you, Michelle Crowley, with documentation day after day after day. Because how do you answer this question? The grand jury's impaneled, and I'm not called to testify. I have written this documentation, e-foil for you, Michelle Crowley. The number of grand jurors, what's the vote, when it was convened, how did you select them? How did you select them? Is you want the stupidest people you can manipulate. That's how. So, you refuse to answer all these questions because you're freaks and psychopaths and fanatics. That's why. You just remain above the law. It's exactly what you are. The Hollywood cliche of you, where Steven Seagal makes a movie called Above the Law, and that's exactly what you freaks and sociopaths and fanatics are at the district attorney's office, the sheriff's office, above the law. Certainly Richard J. Seaton is. If Zachary Baxter or Kevin Baxter, the children of Todd Baxter, were violently attacked in a public place by a psychopath cop like I was, by Richard J. Seaton at the Penfield Public Library, his wife, Mary Baxter, would be in a rage about that. And the lives of others don't matter to Todd Baxter or anyone at that Monroe County Sheriff's Office. So, August 4th, right here, a year ago, August 4th. What are the names of my prosecutors? When I'm on here, I will print this out just like this. I'm going to attach this August 4th from 1 year ago. I'm going to send it to the sheriff's office. The district attorney's going to look right at what I'm saying right now. When I write the language, I don't know what it's going to be yet. She'll look right at the language, refuse, because she's a psychopath and freak. That's why. Doesn't stop her vehicle for the police. As far as perjury and violence, January 22nd, 2023, here's all your emails up here. All those names I just mentioned at the Repulsive Shack, Jonestown, Kool-Aid drinking district attorney's office. You're all up here. Perjurer, 73312 Michael Houlihan. Violence, Sheriff Todd Baxter, 75904 Richard J. Seaton. Have you noticed when you read the media that the Monroe County Sheriff's Office and Todd Baxter is constantly announcing that they're searching for missing people? Have you seen this? You employees of the District Attorney's Office, Perry Douglas, Mark Monahan, Elizabeth Buck, Michelle Crowley, you think it's the job of the police to search for human beings? When how is the word search defined? Because it isn't the job of police anywhere to search for human beings. When I lived in Albany County for 10 years, the Albany County Sheriff and Albany Police Department were not on local media or the news relentlessly announcing searches for human beings. When I lived on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., the Northern Virginia media and the Washington, D.C. media weren't reporting how the Washington, D.C. police or the Northern Virginia police were searching for human beings. And what Todd Baxter's doing is abusing the resources of his office to announce searches for human beings when, how is it defined that they're missing? This is every day. Tomorrow, you will see a story on this local idiot media. It doesn't cover you freaks, sociopaths, the district attorney's office, sheriff's office, where Todd Baxter announces that he's searching for someone. If it's not tomorrow, it's certainly going to be once, twice, 3 times in this upcoming week, as today's Sunday. Todd Baxter, this is what I posted to WROC about you. It's right there. There's the language right there. There's a little glare on the phone. Your job, you Benito Mussolini skinhead stooge and psychopath, Sheriff Todd Baxter, is not to search for missing, quote-unquote, human beings. Because how is missing, quote-unquote, defined? Do you understand these idiot phony searches are not police work? Do you understand a period of time must elapse for a human being to be considered missing? You and your repulsive Jonestown of violent psychopaths don't search for anyone, ever. Freedom of information or documentation will arrive in your office from me with questions about how you want to take a search, or if you want to take a search. You can be forced to answer by the U.S. Department of Justice, New York State Legislature, Office of Government Acting Local, and Office of State Controller Thomas B. DiNapoli. By Controller Thomas B. DiNapoli, since he can audit your Monroe County Sheriff's Office budget, and if there is no budget allocation or money expended for searches you announce, then you're doing what I expect. You're lying. Since you're a compulsive lying skinhead stooge and psychopath, the state controller can discover other things you're doing with taxpayer dollars that are illegal, unethical, and sleazy. Have a nice day, Todd Baby. Does this concern you when you see the local media, employees at the district attorney's office, Perry Douglas, Mark Behind, Liz Buck, Michelle Crowley, that this idiot, bald-headed sheriff is constantly announcing searches for human beings when that's not police work, or is it? Do you believe that this is police work, to search for human beings? Because it isn't, ever. And Todd Baxter believes he doesn't have to explain anything about how he conducts these searches, which I don't believe are happening. I think he just goes to the media and says he's searching with people, and then it's just forgotten about. So, I'm going to read this criminal complaint again for you freaks and psychopaths, because corruption requires repetition, because this is why I have nothing. 2 people are going to decide that I'm going to sleep in Harris Whalen Park for 3 weeks, and 2 people are going to decide I have nothing. I lived at this residence, 26 Sandra from Drive, since 2012 for 8 years, and Antonio Spano's 80-year-old psychopath and freaking degenerate who I believe is not an American citizen, just showed up and locked the door. So, and I'm going to contact Immigration and Customs Enforcement about him and 2 other people. So, on here, I moved from Webster, New York, where I live with my girlfriend, Laura Riley, to Penfield in 2012. For 8 years, I lived there, where I do not know where she's hired at the Penfield Public Library at 1985 Bad Road. And down the hall is Penfield Town Court. So for 8 years, I lived there. I go month to month. I don't have a lease. I pay the rent every month. Antonio Spano, Fairport, I locked the front and back doors of residence, 26 Sanders Farm Drive in Penfield, New York, without a court order. Good cause eviction forums here, which I'm going to go to. City Council wants to hear your opinion of good cause evictions. Tell us what you think of one of these upcoming public forums. July 29th, hosted by Lachey D. Harris, Vice President, South District. August 13th, Rochester Public Market, hosted by Michael Patterson, Northeast District. August 14th, Thomas P. Ryan, hosted by Mary Lupian, East District. August 27th, Edgerton R. Center, hosted by Bridget A. Monroe, Northwest District. Good cause eviction. There's no cause. He locked the door and that's it. He has no cause whatsoever to lock me out. And the reason why he locks me out is because what's happened to me in this parking lot here with this freak Shannon Meyer, with this warrant for my arrest for walking through this parking lot because this 50-year-old freak named Rashad lives with his mother. There is no cause whatsoever to evict me. And it takes a court order to evict me. It takes a court order to move everything to storage locker and website, which Todd Baxter, Sandra, Doorley, and Norris. If this old man, by some miracle, is arrested, what Sandra Doorley is going to do is just dismiss the charges before the corrupt judge. Because she's corrupt. That's why. Do you disagree with the fact Perry Douglas, Mark Behind, Elizabeth Buck, and Michelle Crowley, as Sandra Doorley's corrupt or not? Do you think she comports herself with the highest degree of ethics and character and integrity? You live in a Jonestown of denial and delusion if you don't think Sandra Doorley's corrupt. What are the names of my prosecutors? I can't find out. So, Monroe County Sheriff Office salaries. Again, when I contact Controller Thomas Gudanapoli, Todd Baxter is sending the envelope back to me. Here, Corey Brown, 155,366 and 64 cents, makes $23,000 more than Todd Baxter. Michael T. Fowler, 163,877, makes $31,000 more than Todd Baxter. I've talked about these two repeatedly on the first page. The boss everywhere should always make the most money. This is an abomination that his two employees make more money than him and by $20,000 or more. When I worked for Congressman Mark Smith of Texas, I didn't make more money than Congressman Smith. When I worked for Senator Olympia Snow of Maine, I didn't make more money than Senator Snow. When I worked for Governor George Pataki in the Capitol, I didn't make more money than Governor Pataki. When I worked for Senate Majority Ralph Marino in the Capitol, I didn't make more money than the Majority Leader. Jonestown. Jonestown has different definitions because of what happened in Guyana in 1979 when the followers of Jim Jones drank Flavor Aid. That's where the phrase drinking Kool-Aid comes from. Jonestown, to me, is always blindness to the truth, and that's what you are at the sheriff's office and district attorney's office. When I say to Sandra Doorley, tell me the names of my prosecutors and who is it, and she refuses, it's the Jonestown that she occupies. Sandra Doorley's mind is Jonestown. So, I'm talking about Michael Houlihan and Richard Seaton here. January 26, 2023. Fanaticism, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Judge Alex Renzi. That fanaticism, that's about Shannon Myron, which was paid $67,000, and now she's paid $83,000. Perjurer, $73,312. Michael Houlihan, the Sheriff's Office. When I say Todd Baxter doesn't care to him that his employees lie under oath, I'm on there for 30 plus minutes talking about Michael Houlihan lying under oath. Violence, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, 75,904, Richard J. Seaton. When I say that Sheriff Todd Baxter doesn't care that his employee violently attacked me when my head slammed down against ceramic tile of the Penfield Public Library, the other psychopath kicked me when I was down on the ground. When I say that Todd Baxter is the embrace of violence and it does not matter to him that I'm being violently attacked by his employees and he uses the blue wall of silence to protect this violent psychopath, Richard J. Seaton, this is why right here. So, rejection, Todd Baxter, Sandra Doorley, Judge Alex Renzi. Rejection because I knew on that day you were going to inject my freedom of information law, documents, accountability, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Judge Alex Renzi. There's no accountability for any of you freaks and sociopaths and psychopaths. Do whatever you want. You violate the civil and constitutional rights of innocent citizens. It doesn't matter to you. How come I've never heard Miranda? In 1966, the Supreme Court passed Miranda. You know why the Supreme Court passed Miranda? If you were asked right now or in law school, Perry Douglas, Mark Bynum, Elizabeth Buckley, Michelle Crowley, why does Miranda exist? It has different answers. Do you know why? You know what the best answer is? It's because the psychopath cops violate the civil and constitutional rights of innocent citizens. That's why. That's why Miranda exists. How come I've never heard Miranda? So, Freedom of Information Law, August 4th. What is right here? Here's the payroll. Who is it? I don't care if the employee left. I don't care if the assistant district attorney left. Because I'm still going to pursue disbarment. And the fact that Sandra Doorley refuses over and over just allows me the freedom to come here on YouTube and talk about her being a corrupt freak, which you employees at the district attorney's office can't recognize. What you can recognize is that she's totally flat broke. Here is the financial disclosure of the district attorney. I've already read this, been through this. Sandra Doorley and I own a home. Does her husband Bill Loftus own that home? But she sent it to me. Todd Baxter, where's your financial disclosure? Again, when I contact Thomas P. DiNapoli, so I just read that. Since you're a compulsive lying skinhead stooge, a psychopath, the state controller can discover other things you're doing in taxpayer dollars that are illegal, unethical, and sleazy. Have a nice day, Todd, baby. It's unethical, illegal, and sleazy. I don't know if it's illegal. It's unethical and sleazy for a sheriff not to send his financial disclosure. He's making car commercials? Doesn't that concern you, Todd Baxter? Michael Radley, you're still there at $0. Kathleen Miller, $101,000 win today. And Todd Baxter is one, making car commercials where he's not the sheriff of Monroe County, and two, possibly being paid for it. Does that concern you, employees of the sheriff's office? What did you think about that? There could be anger and rage at the sheriff's office about that, and I don't know. And there should be anger and rage. And there are also employees that are not going to think anything of it. Because violent psychopaths and freaks and perjurers like Richard Seaton and Michael Houlihan cannot process that this is illegal unethical, and sleazy. I don't know if it's illegal. The part-time rates. Do you have the children of Monroe County Sheriff Office employees on the payroll? When I worked for Senate Majority Leader Ralph Marino from 1991 to 1995, my friend, his name was Justin McCarthy, was the chief of staff for State Senator Michael Nozzolio. And I would go over to what's called the LOB, or Legislative Office Building. You can go from the third floor where I work for the Majority Leader down to what's called the Concourse in Albany. Walk on the Concourse, take the elevator up to the Legislative Office Building. That's 10 floors. And I would sit there next to Justin. And there's nothing unusual about this. And he's not the only one doing this. In fact, nearly every chief of staff would do this. He took out a piece of paper that was blank. And he had names on it. And he would point to the name, and then he would tell me, I got him a job. And then next to the name would be the person who owes him a favor, owes him something. So, the reason why I'm holding this up is part-time rates. One of the things that he would do is he came from a big family in Albany. 10 brothers and sisters. Justin McCarthy of Albany North, chief of staff for Senator Michael Nozzolio. He knew people. It was incredible. I really was in awe of how many people he knew and how connected he was. And this is the way the world works. I'm not saying he's doing anything illegal. I'd go there and sit next to him when we talk about things that were happening a long time ago in the early 90s. And he'd take out a piece of paper with names on it. And they would talk about the names. These part-time sheriff office employees, how many of these part-time sheriff office employees are the children of Monroe County Sheriff Office employees? What's the answer? What's the state of nepotism at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office of Todd Baxter? Because I'll have to look for this name here as I go down here, because Kathleen Miller is the $34,000 employee of the Sheriff's Office. And from what I recall, it was a Camille Miller on his payroll. And I'm looking for a last name that I can recognize. And I do not see Camille Miller on this payroll here. Camille Miller's name is on the payroll that I originally acquired. The first time I acquired the payroll, she was on there because the last page of the payroll had the $10,000 and $12,000 employees. So I don't recognize the name right away here, but State Controller Thomas P. DiNapoli can find out if Frank V. Chernetsky at $29 is related to the 57-year employee that's Frank Chernetsky, or if in fact this is Frank Chernetsky. This $29 part-time employee, is this the 57-year employee Frank Chernetsky, who has to be at least 75 years old and the old man at the jail? Or is this the child or other relation to Frank Chernetsky? Todd Baxter. Todd Baxter is drenched in nepotism. And it does not matter to him. So on this page of payroll here is, they have the modern names. Like Hannah Ann Jerzak. That's a modern name, Hannah Ann. Hannah Christine Crowder. That's a modern, $15. Noah C. Schamberger, $16. Carson John Minister, $15. Ariel M. Reed, $15. Riley Elizabeth Bevilacqua, $15. Michael C. Robinson, $25.04. And Mary Beth Kowalski, $29. That's the last name. Mary Beth Kowalski. She related to a Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee. You could be related to a Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee as Mary Beth Kowalski and have a different last name. Todd Baxter doesn't think he has to answer any of this. And now that I'm on here 28 minutes, I'm going to tell you what you're thinking in that Jonestown Sheriff's Office. He should be arrested. Because you know you don't have to talk in the district attorney's office before the corrupt judge. That's why. You're thinking, exactly. He should be arrested and in jail. And look at the way he's pointing that finger at us. Because you know you can just present me in front of the corrupt judge, Alex Renzi, the New York State Supreme Court, Paul C. Metzler, John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Penn Court, declare me guilty and remand me to jail and hold me in jail as long as you want. And how's that constitutional? Huh? Tell me what the answer is. Perry Duck here on this August 1st, over a year ago. Do you know I contacted you in January 2023 to demand you disclose the identities of my prosecutor's silence? The response from you is predictable silence. I've used the Freedom of Information Law for 18 months to demand District Attorney Sandra to disclose the identities of my prosecutor's silence. This pathetic accumulation of health afflictions has refused every time. It's 20 plus times. That's right. This is January 1, 2020. This is why he's corrupt. January 1, 2023, periodicals. Attached to PDF is a 61-page Freedom of Information Law document dated December 20, 2020 that arrived in your office via UPS. This documentation also arrived on December 22nd, 2022 and December 26, 2022 via UPS. It was tracked. You have it. January 1, 2023. I'm telling periodicals to disclose the names on prosecutor's silence. August 1, 2023. Here. I'm telling him. He refused both times. Do not agree? Director of local courts Elizabeth Bucket, that this is corruption? A deputy district attorney or any employee of the district attorney's office refusing to disclose the name of the prosecutor? This is not a mountain of work at all. You go to the administrative person, send me the documentation. I'll see the assigned assistant district attorney on it. I don't know. We could write a simple letter just telling me who it is. Who is it? You, $140,000 Judy Sianka, also know. And I've already held up those envelopes. In the interest of time, since I'm on here for 30 minutes already, I'm going to get off soon. So I could get physically and throw up when I use your names. You, $140,000 Judy Sianka, know. And when I contact Yashar Roman of the Monroe County Legislature, who you're accountable to, what's your response? If you're asked by the president of the Monroe County Legislature, or chairman of the Monroe County Legislature, why are you refusing to, one, tell the citizen names of prosecutors, which is information you have, and two, send in his mail back to him? What's your response? And there were disciplinary committees for you too. Public Defender Julie Sianka, which I'm going to contact. And you too, periodicals. What I have here for you, periodicals, the disciplinary committees for attorneys. I'm going to send them these two documents. January 1, 2023. What are the names of my prosecutors, periodicals? August 1, 2023. What are the names of my prosecutors, periodicals? And he refuses. A lunatic fringe. Lunatic fringe to refuse to disclose the name of a prosecutor in a public proceeding funded by taxpayers that has delivered an innocent citizen to jail. My name is Christopher Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I have been an innocent man my whole life.